Hey, chosen ones, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Period. So, have you ever been around people and everything you do, they copy? This is no coincidence. You're chosen. This is a sign that you are a superstar. Why do you think that every time you do something, people just end up copying off you? It's not a coincidence. Nothing happens by coincidence. So, when you see these people copying off you, stop getting annoyed. That's a sign that you are chosen. But these very people that are copying off you are enemies of you. They're haters. How can you hate me but want to be like me?
Hey, Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem, Wakakadash. Much mercy to you brothers out there that understand this new covenant, that can understand the new covenant law, which can really put in perspective and understand that Moses actually passed the baton to the Lord, and Moses said, when that prophet comes, you're gonna have to listen to him. And what's happening is men are not listening to Moses because guys have been cut off from understanding. So instead of pushing Yahweh Shai and the new covenant and the laws of the new covenant, guys are stuck in the old because they want to be seen in old garments. So that's what this whole thing is about. And I wanted to say something about Acts, I think it was 21. The brother, man, he broke Acts 21 down like a couple of weeks ago, and guys is taking that, making it seem like Paul was telling you to keep the old covenant. No, it wasn't like that. They were, in the book of Acts, what was happening is the new covenant was going out, and what Paul had to do, he was being, he was using wisdom, but he was pushing the new covenant, but he was acting like he was of the old, just so he wouldn't start like a fucking riot. He was using wisdom, but even though he was pushing the new covenant, so Paul was prosecuting the church for men teaching the new covenant, and he went from prosecuting the church to teaching the Lord. So that is why they stoned Stephen in Acts 6. They were not teaching the new covenant. It's just that our people was so sprung out against Moses. You know, a certain time you will have to use wisdom and act like you teaching that, just so you wouldn't start like a fucking riot or fucking you know, because when you go into the whole book of Acts, I'm gonna just say it like this: the whole thing was they were being prosecuted for teaching the new covenant, the same way like how we're being prosecuted. So Paul was teaching the new covenant. He wasn't teaching the old law of Moses. And what this truth is dominated by guys that are of the old law. That means in the spirit, they're of the old law. And they don't understand that. That's why they hate us teaching the new covenant so much. But for a lot of you guys that say you're teaching the new covenant and you're bringing the old into it, you don't understand when the Lord said, don't put a pair of new garments on the old. Don't mix the two covenants. Romans 7 breaks down when the husband dies. Salakia. Romans breaks down 7. When the husband died, then the woman is not under the law. The Lord was likening that law unto the old covenant law. Now, in the flesh, if you still need to go back and look at some of those things in the old law and read up on that law, you could do that all you want. But I'm going to say this again, the old covenant has no justification in it. So there's no power in it. So if you're keeping the old covenant, then you're disobeying what Moses said. And the thing is, the new covenant is actually over the old law. And I'm gonna keep saying it again. We're not under that old law. For you guys that having problems in this last day, that means that you're of the old. That's all that means. Galatians 3:10. For as many as are the works of the law are under the curse. So you could break that down wrong all you want. Guys are literally breaking the scriptures down wrong. The old law is dead. It has no power in it. That's why a lot of you guys look crazy going out there to the highways, because what's being found out is that guys that are in those old garments that's upholding the old law and still getting ties like these camps is being known that guys don't have any power and they don't have any fucking faith, because there's no faith in the old law. All right, all you guys that are carnal, you cartoon motherfuckers that's mixing the old to new and don't have an understanding, breaking Acts down wrong. If you go back to Acts 21, Paul wasn't teaching you the old covenant. He had to act like that in that one chapter. The brother broke it down beautiful, just so he wouldn't start like an uproar, because our people are really sprung out on that old law. Because a lot of our people were using that old law to get ties, to keep men under that old yoke. Galatians 3:10. For as many as are of the works of the law, this is talking about the old covenant law. For as many as are the works of the law are under the curse. For it is written, curse is everyone that continueth not in all the things which are written in the book of the law to do them. But no man is justified by the law in the sight of God. It is evident the just shall live by faith. And the law is not of faith, but the man that doeth them shall live in them. The anointed have redeemed us. This is plain right here, man. This is plain. So all of you guys that are teaching the new covenant and you're breaking it down wrong and you're bringing the old into it, you're cursed. You're teaching another gospel. Matter of fact, Galatians 1:10. And you know what? It's just going to get, the heat just going to get turned up more and more, because we see that a lot of you guys, you're really teaching, you're really against this new covenant, and you say you're teaching it. You guys got some fucking nerve that you don't have no understanding of the new covenant. You can't mix the two together. That's why you guys are in an evil spirit. And that's why they stoned Stephen, because Stephen was speaking against the old law in Acts 6. And I read that the other day, Galatians 1:8. But though we or an angel preach any other gospel unto you than that we have preached unto you, let him be accursed. So the gospel is that Yahweh Shai in the new covenant replaced the old covenant, and now you're not under the schoolmaster. The schoolmaster is the old covenant, bro. Guys that can't let the new covenant go, they're of the old and they're carnal. All right, 2/3 of our people, going back to Zechariah 13:8, they've been actually cut off from the spirit. That's why the Lord said they won't come into my rest. He said, I swear that they won't come into my rest. Let me read that real quick. This is what the Lord was speaking about. This is what the Lord was speaking about. Hebrews 3:11. So I swore in my wrath, they shall not enter into my rest. The rest is the spirit. This is the eternal atonement. This is the spirit. A lot of guys are not in the spirit because they're breaking the scriptures down wrong. They don't have no understanding. So you can't break the scriptures down wrong and say that you're in the spirit. It's crazy, man. You don't have no understanding. And we're telling you guys, but a lot of you guys, you got some nerve trying to act like you trying to teach us some shit. You know what I'm saying? When you guys are trying to keep the schoolmaster and the new covenant, trying to have two masters. And Matthew 6 cussed that shit of doing this to be seen. So it doesn't matter if you're seen of men. If you're not predestined or of God already, it doesn't matter how many times you go to the street. It don't matter how many times you wear garments. This ain't a carnal covenant. A lot of you guys are carnal. You're carnal. So you will never understand the new covenant. And you will be against, not us really, you will be against the new covenant and us until the Lord kill you. Then you'll realize it's crazy. Hebrews 3:11. So I swear in my wrath, they shall not enter into my rest. And whom swear he, they should not enter into his rest, but to them that believeth not. So a lot of guys are not, they're like hardening their hearts. They're hardening their hearts in this time, because they're not listening to Moses. Moses told you to follow the Lord. Easy. So you're not even following the Lord. A lot of you guys you just want to be seen. That's what this whole thing is about. Guys want to be seen, want to get tithes, and they want to keep you in the flesh. The hell out of here. John 5 and 45, it says, do not think that I accuse you to the Father. There is one that accuses you, even Moses, in whom ye trust. For had ye believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. If ye believe not his writings, how shall ye believe my words? So a lot of you guys are not even following what Moses told you to follow that prophet when he come. He said, follow that prophet in all things. So you're not following what Moses told you when Yahweh come, you're supposed to follow him. And so this is what the book of Acts was about. Let's go back to Acts 6 real quick. Let's go back to Acts 6. Acts 6 and 7. And the word of God increased, and the number of the disciples multiplied in Jerusalem greatly, and a great company of priests were obedient to the faith. Right? The faith now was Yahweh Shai in the book of Acts, was understanding the Lord. And what's heavy is that if you're not really of the Lord from birth, so it doesn't matter if you wear a garment or be seen. This is what a lot of you guys, you don't understand. It's not about you proving in the flesh that you're of God to motherfuckers. Bro, we're at the end of this. You still got motherfuckers think they're proving something by going out being seen. The Lord told you not to do this to be seen in Matthew 6. You can't break Matthew 6 down wrong. You guys are breaking the scriptures down wrong because they're not of the Spirit. So the scriptures tell you in Romans 8, which guys hate that breakdown, that ministration of death, Paul refers to the old covenant as the ministration of death. Plain and simple. Matter of fact, let's read that real quick. You fucking guys, bro. You guys got some nerve. Telling us to repent. You guys are upholding Moses. You guys are not even in the right spirit. You guys are in a fucking demonic spirit. It's crazy as hell. You guys got some fucking nerve. Second Corinthians 3. Now this, the ministration of death. The old covenant is the ministration of sin and death. That's why the Lord came and he replaced it. He totally replaced the old covenant with his law. So if you put the old law and mix it in the new covenant, you are not in the spirit. You don't have no understanding. You have to understand that, yeah, the old law is there, but it has no justification, and only the elect were actually redeemed from that old law. So if you haven't really been redeemed from that old law, you're attached to that old law because you're of the flesh. So you cannot understand this spiritual covenant. So you will not understand us, and that's good for you. This 2 Corinthians 3 and 6. Who also have made us able ministers of the new covenant, and not of the latter, not of the old, but of the Spirit. For the latter killeth. For the latter killeth. The old covenant killeth, but the Spirit giveth life. Where's the Spirit? It is only in the new covenant. It is not in the old. So you can't mix the old and the new and say you could keep the old. You guys that harp on Moses is because you're of the flesh. So you will not understand us. You won't understand the new covenant fully. The Lord died to redeem the elect from that old law. So a lot of you guys have not been redeemed. Just through the spirit that you're in, teaching that old law and mixing it with the new law, you have not been redeemed. You're not of the elect. All right? It don't matter how much you be seen. We can tell who's of the elect and who's not. We know who we are of. We know that we are of God. How do we know that we're of God? Like 1 John 5, that we have this understanding that a lot of guys do not have. And it's beautiful. It is beautiful. Because a lot of you guys, you don't understand. You're not against us. You're against God, ultimately. Because you don't understand the scriptures because it ain't been given unto you to understand. 2 Corinthians 3:7. But if the ministration of death, written and engraven on stones. So wasn't the old law written on stones? The 10 Commandments? You can't make this up. See, we don't break the scriptures down wrong. We tell you the correct understanding. Now, because you guys are of Satan and you're of the flesh, you're cut to the heart because you're figuring out that the old covenant that you love so much, it don't have no power in it. And in the book of Acts, which a lot of guys won't break down, the Gentiles were believing in Paul and they were getting the Spirit on them and not even following the old. When you go to Acts 15, you didn't have to be circumcised to be of God. You're of God already. It says, but if the ministration of death written and engraven in stones was glorious, so that the children of Israel could not stand fastly behold the face of Moses. So it was still the ministration of sin and death. It says, so that the children of Israel could not stand fastly behold the face of Moses for the glory of his countenance, which glory was to be done away. Whew. So the old covenant has been done away. That's why the temple rent in two in an earthquake. That was the beginning of the new covenant. That's why the Lord said when he came back to life, he told John and them and Peter to receive his spirit. So a lot of you guys, you can't receive this spirit because you've been cut off since Zechariah 13:8. And plus, when you go back to Isaiah, the Lord have darkened you fucking guys. It says, how shall not the ministration of the Spirit be rather glorious? So the new covenant is more glorious than the old covenant because it's a spiritual covenant and you have to be of it from birth, not you going out to the highway showing people your garments or putting your face in the camera. All you guys that are doing that, you're doing this to be seen and you're defying Matthew 6. You're just doing this to be seen. So you have your reward already. So there's no salvation coming for guys that like to be seen in the streets, if you understand what I'm saying. The reason they were going out, Paul and them had to go out and be seen, and the Lord and them, it is because they had to do that back in them times. We don't have to stand on the street and be seen like a fucking idiot. That's why a lot of you guys, nobody comes up to you asking you guys shit really out there. Because a lot of you guys don't even have the understanding. It says, for if the ministration of condemnation, this is talking about the old law, be glorious, how much more the ministration of righteousness exceed the glory. So Yahweh Shai is where the righteousness is. So let's go back to Acts 6 real quick. So a lot of you guys, you do not have the understanding. Acts 6:7, it says, and the word of power increased, and the number of disciples multiplied in Jerusalem greatly. At the great company of the priests were obedient to the faith. Stephen, full of the faith and power. Full of faith and power. Faith is in the new covenant. That's where the power is. That's where we're at. We don't care about the old law of Moses. You see? We don't care about a lot of you guys were not meant to understand this. A lot of you guys are going to, the scriptures say the multitude was born in vain. So the multitude will not understand the new covenant. The overwhelming majority of our people will not understand the new covenant or even believe in God, bro. And a lot of you guys fall under that category. Now it says, and Stephen, full of the faith and power, did wonders and miracles among the people. And there arose certain of the synagogue, which is called the synagogue of the Libertines, the Cyrenians, the Alexandrian, and of them of Cilicia and of Asia, disputing with Stephen. And they were not able to resist the wisdom and the spirit by which he spake. Right. So a lot of guys can't resist what we're saying over here. Now check this out. This is the point. It says, then they suborned men, which said, we have heard him speak blasphemous words against Moses and against God. You see that? So you had, today, this would be like 4 or 5 camps of people coming against Stephen. And they said, then they suborned men, which said, we have heard him speak blasphemous words against Moses and against God. And this is the spirit that you guys are in today. Because Stephen was teaching the new covenant. So this cuts all that shit guys is talking about. The book of Acts was not about teaching the old covenant. The book of Acts was about men teaching the new covenant, and they were getting the Gentiles to convert, which a lot of the Gentiles didn't know anything about the old. They didn't grow up in the old law of Moses, but they were of God already. Matter of fact, let's go to Romans 8. So you have to be predestined in this time. It don't matter if you be seen on the streets. Romans 8:30. Moreover, whom he did predestinate, them he also called, and whom he called, them he also justified, and whom he justified, them he also glorified. So we were already justified. You're not justified going out in fucking garments and being seen. All you jackasses that don't have no understanding. You see? So that's the thing. This new covenant is only for the ones that can understand that are not of the old. So the Lord told you to Moses told you to follow that prophet when he come in all things. So guys are not listening because they're not of the spirit. So let's go to and this is why Paul was causing an uproar, because he was teaching the new covenant. They called Paul, he was a pestilent fellow, because all Paul was doing was teaching the new covenant. He went from prosecuting guys teaching the old law to teaching the new covenant and having the whole synagogue turn on him for him teaching the new covenant. Paul did not bring the old covenant law into his ministry. Matter of fact, let's read this. Acts 13:39. Check this out. Acts 13:38. Be it known unto you, therefore, men and brethren, that through this man is preached unto you the forgiveness of sins, and by him all that believe are justified. All them that believe are justified. It said all them that believe. You got guys telling you that you have to be carnal and it ain't about you just believing. Get the fuck out of here, man. We're not listening to you guys that don't even fucking have the understanding. So you just gonna tell men it ain't about them just believing. Get the hell out of here, man. You guys are cartoons. You guys are funny, man. Jokes out there. You see, it's not by you being justified being out in garments. Acts 13:39. And by him all that believe are justified. All that believe are justified. All that believe are justified. So don't listen to these false prophets of the new covenant. Because men that were predestined and already justified, we don't have to prove a goddamn thing to you guys. You don't have to believe us. You could teach false doctrine all day, and we'll see at the end. Well, we're seeing who's of God and who's not. But a lot of you guys are gonna figure out the hard way, because you're not against us. You're against the Bible. You're defying what the Lord said and what Moses said. Acts 13:39. And by him all that believe are justified from all things, from which you could not be justified by the law of Moses. There you go right there. Woo! So all you guys holding on to Moses, man, you're holding on to that law of sin and death. And I got to get back in here, man. I talked to you brothers a little bit later. I had to bring that out. Separate yourself from all these guys that's teaching the new covenant. There's only a few brothers that are teaching the covenant correctly. The majority of guys teaching the new covenant, they're in the old covenant spirit. All right. And you can see that plain. Hey, with that, repent to the new covenant. Separate yourself from all these carnal guys. Hey, with that, hey, shalom.